Here are my top 10 favorite rap albums of 2019. These are just all albums I personally enjoyed throughout the year. Let me know yours in the comments below. But before I get started, honorable mention to Young Thug's So Much Fun, specifically the deluxe edition, considering the songs added to it made it that much more enjoyable, and Smoke Perp's Dead Star 2. Never thought I'd be saying that, but both albums don't really bring anything of value, more so very enjoyable to listen to, and sometimes that's all you really need. So at number 10, I have IDK, Is He Real? I wasn't the biggest fan of his prior album. I felt like it had too much of voice memos, audio calls, or just like skits and general conversational tracks. Is He Real has a few of those conversational tracks trying to, tell a story, but for the most part it stays to the music, and the music within this album is really nice. My favorites being December and No Cable. Lily's really good. Julia. There's a bunch of good songs to go check out, and I recommend it. At number 9, I have Boogie, Everything for Sale. This one came out in early January of 2019. I almost completely forgot about it until I was making this list, and I realized how much I listened to this album at the start of the year, especially when I had Spotify. This was like one of my top 5 artists or top 5 songs, being Silent Ride Home. Silent Ride, amazing track, and even the introduction track to Everything for Sale, Tired Reflections, that one's really good as well. I remember seeing him perform that live, and I just immediately wanted this man to drop the album. He did not disappoint when he dropped it, and it has a bunch of solid songs on it with Eminem, JID. This was a very good album, and I'm excited to see Boogie's continued growth. At number 8, I have Juice WRLD, Death Race for Love. I feel like people will judge you depending on what artist you have in your top 10. A lot of people say they don't like this album. I personally enjoyed it. If you go back and watch my middle of the year top albums of 2019, this was in my top 5 list. This has nothing to do with the passing of Juice WRLD. This is just how much I enjoyed the album prior. So it kind of irked me last year when X passed away and people were saying I only had him at number 1 because he died. That's far from the truth. I had him at number 1 because I enjoyed those projects that much. It's all about personal enjoyment and gravitating towards the album, and I really gravitated towards Death Race for Love a lot more than Juice WRLD's prior work. Goodbye and Good Riddance, Maze, and Make Believe are some of my all-time favorites from that track. Maze being one of my favorite songs of 2019. It really sucks what happened, but hopefully they handle his post-release albums better than how other artists have been handled so far. So at number 7, I have JPEG Mafia, All My Heroes Are Cornballs. This man has such great titles, such great relatable titles, even within the album. Such great relatable titles such as Thought Tactics and Grimy Waifu being some of my favorites. Remember last year people were hyping up this man's album like crazy. I believe it was in 2018 when he released Veteran. I wasn't really feeling it. It had a lot of misses on that album that were just too crazy and wild that I didn't really gravitate towards. My favorite song off of Veteran was Thug Tears, especially the Colors YouTube version of it. So when All My Heroes Are Cornballs came out, I was happy to see that more of the sound was like Thug Tears and 1539 and Calvert from Veteran. That really made me enjoy it that much more. At number 6, I have Denzel Curry's Zoo. This was my favorite album of 2019 for the longest time. For the longest time throughout 2019, I was advocating this is the album of the year. It's fallen off, but that's because I feel like 3 albums in particular by lesser known artists really went crazy, and I really gravitated towards those albums more than Zoo. Zoo I felt was a little short in comparison. It was really top heavy. The back half of Zoo wasn't as strong as the first half, and I absolutely loved it for what it was, and I'm excited to see what Denzel Curry drops next. My favorite tracks, obviously, Zoo and Wish. At number 5, I have 99 Neighbors, Television. This came out exactly January 1st of 2019, so it was right there. I found out about 99 Neighbors like in February, and I've been talking about them on my YouTube channel ever since. I absolutely love these guys, and I feel you'll love them too. It was really refreshing to find out about these guys because 2019 wasn't a big year in terms of big artists releasing music, and 99 Neighbors definitely filled that void for me with television. More people definitely need to check them out, and hopefully in 2020 that will be the case. They're most likely going to drop another project this year that I will absolutely love. Hopefully more than television, because I felt although how great television was, I see room to grow, and I'm super excited to see that growth. So check out Damage and Facts from the album. Those being some of my favorites. Just like Zoo, it was one of my favorite albums for the longest time of 2019. It's just that new albums came out, and I'm kind of listening to those albums now instead, and it's just like, hopefully I'm not getting swayed by what's new and what I have on rotation right now. But still, amazing album. All of these albums really thoroughly enjoyed. So that's why I'm recommending you check them out. And number 4, Kanye West, Demonetization is King. I can't say the first word because YouTube is strict about that, and they don't like you talking about the R word. So we're just going to refer to it as demonetization and the R word. If you don't know what that is, just read the Kanye album title for yourself. Clearly, a lot of people hated this album. I personally enjoyed it. This was one of my most enjoyable on-release Kanye West albums. Normally, Kanye's albums take a little bit time to grow on me, but this one I just instantly gravitated towards. It really felt positive and uplifting, and in 2019, I definitely needed that type of vibe, but it also sucks that at the same time, we were never truly able to listen to what Kanye envisioned for Yandhi. He had a bunch of good songs like LA Monster, From Ashes, Hurricane, Alien. So hopefully in the future some of those songs are able to be released. I need those songs, especially LA Monster. LA Monster, crazy hook. Hopefully it's on the next album. At number 3, I have Jack Harlow, Confetti. This one came out of nowhere. I wasn't the biggest fan of Jack Harlow. I knew some of the music that he's made in the past, but Confetti was a huge improvement and stepping stone, I feel like, in his career, because the album's only 12 songs, but I don't feel like there's a single skippable song on the album. Maybe depending on what type of mood you're in, maybe you'll skip one or two, but other than that, this was an amazing project that I was completely caught off guard to listen to. And no major features outside of a Bryson Tiller feature, and I feel like that was probably the weakest song in my opinion. It was clearly the forced attempt to be the one radio hit from the project, and who knows if it worked or not, but either way, I still love the album. My favorite tracks being Rotten and Heavy Hitter. At number 2, I have Baby Keem, Die for My Demonetization. Can't say that word, just like I can't say the R word. YouTube does not like that. But all of my top 3 albums could be interchanged. You know, this one could be at number 1, maybe it could be at number 3. Really all depends, because I absolutely loved all of my top 3 albums so much. I couldn't put this at number 1 though, because I just found out about it at the start of the year, and I didn't feel right putting it at number 1 simply because it's fresh in my mind and it's fresh on repeat. So I felt number 2 was a good spot for it. Randomly heard of Baby Keem like in 2018 through a Spotify playlist I was listening to. It had his song Miss Charlotte, and it was a nice little catchy song. I didn't really think anything of the artist, and I didn't really decide to go, hey, let me go check out more of his music. In theory, I definitely really should have. I love this project so much. A lot of the songs are super diverse, because on one track he could go from sounding like Playboy Cardi to the singer Khalid to Kendrick Lamar even. And I know you're probably going to type Kendrick Lamar's his cousin. Yeah. Okay. The versatility is crazy. If I would have found out about it sooner, I could definitely see it at the number 1 spot. But the number 1 spot is pretty special to me. Let's talk about it. Kemba X, I Was Depressed Until I Made This. Contrary to the title's name, it is not an album about depression. It is an album about overcoming it. I felt like all of the songs were unskippable except for one, and we'll talk about that very briefly. The song is Move Around featuring IDK. IDK is an artist I had on my top 10 list. He was at the number 9 spot, but this song, Move Around featuring IDK, was just awful. It was annoying to listen to, and I always skip this song whenever it comes out. IDK is a good artist, Kemba X is a good artist, but this song is just not it for me, and I skip it every single time. But outside of that, it's an amazing album. My favorite tracks being Scoreboard and Still Calling. For the mindset I was in, definitely my number one spot. So with that said, those are my top 10 albums of 2019. Some of my favorite listens. Like I said in the beginning, let me know yours in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe, share the video around. Check out some of these other videos on screen. I really hope you check out some of these albums I mentioned as well. Thank you for watching.